Gene Munster, is it still the number one stock to buy?
Absolutely, and part of the reason is that the first half of 2013, street earnings are down 14%. In the back half, we think they can be up 15%. And so we're really right now in front of this kind of the turn. The June quarter is probably not going to be that great, but as some of these new products start to roll out in the back half of the year, that's the reason to own the stock. And then on top of that, we have a high probability that they're going to get some more cash back to investors, which is long overdue.
Right, and that's where I want to pick up on, Gene, because Larry Howardy of GAMCO was telling us yesterday we might get an announcement before the second half of the year. If investors need to wait that long for some kind of announcement, does that mean the stock is stuck in neutral until then?
Well, I think that it's going to be earlier than that. Our expectation would be in the third week in April when they report their March quarter when they're going to raise the dividend. It's going to be a modest increase based on the cash that they generate from the U.S. So call it just over $10 now, and it goes to just over $14. In terms of the actual stock, though, we think that that's a positive, a small positive on the dividend side. What's probably going to be more important, and the bigger question we get from investors, is fundamentally how is Apple competing with Samsung, and how are they competing in the low-end phone market? And so I think if investors feel greater confidence in the back half product release schedule, I think that's going to be the big thing that's really going to drive shares here over the next year.
So when do we get that cheaper iPhone? Is Apple going to bite?
I think that they have to. The timing on it's still a little bit of a black box. Our expectations are that it's probably going to be in the beginning of the December quarter. So we are expecting it this year. We think it's going to be in conjunction with China Mobile, which is the largest carrier in the world. And so the combination of those two make could be a big splash for them.
We love this on Bloomberg Surveillance. We got a finance guy in Gene Munster, a Piper Jaffray, and an academic on the brand marketing of Apple, and Scott Galloway. Scott Galloway, when you look at Apple, do they diminish their brand with a cheaper phone?
No, I think Gene summed it up. The idea, the cocktail of China Mobile, 1.5 billion people, 700 million, 500 going to 700 million on the internet, and a reasonably priced iPhone, that is a gargantuan consumer proposition. You could have what could arguably be the biggest launch in consumer electronics history in terms of pickup and adoption if you come out with a $100 or $200.
Okay, you heard it there from Scott Galloway, Gene Munster. When do we see that gargantuan announcement?
I think it's probably sometime in the month of September, and it probably ships sometime in September, October.
But when it comes to a cheaper iPhone, that doesn't reset the bar in terms of innovation at Apple. When does Apple come out with a product that disrupts technology? An iWatch, for instance, something unthought of before.
Well, we still think that there's the chance that they announce the TV in 2013. That's clearly in the works. In our opinion, there's no question whether it's a set-top box versus a TV. It's an actual TV. The timing, again, is what is the critical piece to this. But the TV is one area that we still believe strongly in. And second, as you mentioned, is wearable technology in the iWatch. That's probably sometime in 2014. So I think if you just take a step back and look at the big picture, the last 6 months have not been very good for Apple. Probably from kind of the June time frame through the beginning of 2014, it should really pick up as far as the pace of innovation.
Gene, what is your framework 5 and 10 years out? We've simply seen the stock come back to the trend line before the Apple hysteria of the recent months. Is this stock going to be on that trend line and higher, or can it revert to the enthusiasm of 2011, 2012?
Well, I think if you look over the 5-year period, there's going to be ups and downs. I think that the big picture is this: is consumer technology has been only around for 30 years. If you think of the history of time, it really hasn't been around that long. And consumers are going to spend more on technology. And obviously, Apple has a pole position within that. And so the big opportunity over the next 2 years is this low-end phone market. But beyond that, there are things that we can't even think about. And they will cannibalize the phone market with wearable technologies. The watch we talked a lot about, eventually it's going to be glasses. So I think that it's very favorable if we kind of take a 5-year, 10-year window. Who knows? That's anybody's guess.
Right.